one is a better one. As well. Good morning. Oh, it's over here. All right, I'm just finishing up a little bit of work here, so I guess you guys can watch that. I got nothing to hide here, and then we'll get started. Main cover, that's what I called it. I'm just updating a what did I do? I already closed that. Just updating. Spit it out, Matt. I'm updating the cover image for the live stream. That one won't work. It's too big. That won't work either. I'm gonna let you guys know what I'm doing in a second. I'm changing the schedule again a little bit, not much. Okay, that's just too big of a file. So 3.6 megabyte, that's way too big. So here's what I typically do. I'm going to drag it into Photoshop. Give Photoshop a second to open up. Photoshop, there's online tools you can do to resize images. That's what you want to do to optimize images, to get them small as possible for use on the web, you know, because otherwise the files are big and all that stuff. Hopefully you guys know that already. So this is the cover photo I'm setting up for this live stream, for, you know, in case you guys show up and I'm not streaming, this is what shows. But right now the file's way too big, so I'm just going to go ahead and save for web on Photoshop. Man, my computer's running slow today. What's going on? Why is this so... Wow. Okay. So this is way too big. It doesn't need to be this big. Still keep it on PNG 24. Actually, I could probably just make it a JPEG. It doesn't even need to be a PNG. JPEG high. Yeah, much smaller size. Yeah, there we go. And then that's all I use Photoshop mostly for these days. I don't do a whole lot of image editing anymore. Photoshop, it has its purposes. I'll show you guys some Photoshop stuff in the future, but it's great for optimizing images like that. I took a 3.6 megabyte file and reduced it to what size was it? 273K. That's a dramatic difference. So it'll load faster and it looks just as good, because PNG files, you typically don't need to have PNG files unless you're doing some sort of transparent background. Otherwise PNGs are bigger than JPEGs typically, and JPEGs are better for like high resolution images anyway, and they'll make a smaller file size and look better typically. PNGs you want to have for transparencies. That's typically, I mean, a lot of things default to making PNGs. Sometimes they are smaller file sizes, sometimes, but you just got to optimize them. That's a little bit of image optimization. Now, you can also do image optimization on websites. There's free ones. You know, you can just upload your image and it'll downsize it. Super easy. If that's the way you want to go, there's definitely nothing wrong with it. I just don't like it because I'm not in control of it. I don't really know what they're injecting in there, because a lot of these sites can inject. I'm not saying any specific ones do, but I know that big guys do it. They inject metadata into your images for tracking, to see who's using it around the web stuff. And I don't like that. So that's okay with you, and you know that the one that you use doesn't do that. That's cool. So, all right. So let me finish this little task I was working on. Get the cover. All right, so there you go. Just a little Photoshop goofiness. Now let's get back to work here. All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Monday. I am back to live streaming on a regular schedule again. Now let's talk about that real quick here. So, I started off with a schedule that's pretty aggressive, and I thought I was being fairly conservative with it for my own time, really, and it turned out to be way too much. So. Even though I do work at those times, I found that the added pressure of having this added thing of having people watch me on certain things, it unnerved me, because I noticed something I never really noticed before until I was live streaming when working, was that a lot of times I'm just sitting and thinking. My normal work process is not to talk through things, and then so it doesn't work well for me. And quite often, what I do whenever I'm working is, whenever I get stuck on something, I need to work through some sort of roadblock, some challenge, just mentally. I will go take a walk around the house. I'll go get a glass of make some tea or something, or I'll go walk my dog. Just quick little 5, 10, 15-minute breaks just to go do something else. And that's actually really good for problem solving. Put your brain on something else, and your brain will actually process it in the background and come up with solutions. So that's great and everything, but it's not good for live streaming. So I just got to switch it up. And also, I just found that the long form of some of this stuff, especially even if I was just sitting there working and it's very slow, it's just not good content. I just don't see anybody sitting through these long hours of watching me do stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But regardless, I'm going to change this. I'm going to keep the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, as you see on the screen, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., which is what we're doing right here. And I just realized I have a typo in my thing, and I'm going to get... okay. I'm so particular. Such a perfectionist. One thing like that is going to make me gonna update the stream thing again. I just hate little things like that. I spend a lot of time on making myself look good, branding and otherwise, and this little stupid things like that. Typos drive me nuts. So anyway, back to the stream schedule. I am going to go back to doing the stream schedule Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We'll talk about that in a second, and I didn't change it here. Man, I gotta. This is the thing, guys. I never have really done live streaming. I've been watching a lot of live streaming on Twitch and other places, long form stuff, and watching people make money from it. Not just live streaming, playing video games and things, but making money from it. From even people sewing and things like that. Watching guys build model train setups, for instance, and they're making money. Now, I don't know how much money they're actually making, but I know several live streamers that I've talked to that have some pretty big followings. They're making 6 figures, and that's from Twitch revenue too. So anyway, let's get into this. I do curse once in a while, so please forgive me that. Parental advisory. Disclaimer, these are all of my opinions, especially when we're talking about money. Do your own research. It's not financial advice. Trading is risky, and you will lose money eventually. So we're going to go with this schedule. And when you're trying new things, man, you just got to try shit. If it doesn't work, change it. And so what I'm going to do to still deliver the value of what I promised to you guys is 3 hours a week of live streaming. So Monday, Tuesday, Friday. And man, I've got this wrong again. Got ahead of my own ass. I definitely have to change the cover now, because I had this as Wednesday. Wednesday is not correct. Just love Mercury retrograde. That's the excuse I'm giving. The cool thing is I can edit this quite easily now. So we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Now that I got my shit together. See, this is the stuff you don't normally see. I already have this all put together. It's already thought out. But that's live streaming. That part doesn't bother me at all. You know, if you're working here with me in my office, you would see all the boring stuff that's just not that sexy, you know, like typos and, you know, little things. And video editing and whatever else it is. It's not too super exciting to watch, you know. Video editing actually might be good to watch. I don't know. I'm going to do some video editing actually today. I'm going to start working on a new webinar. So you guys, so let's talk about that. Let's get back to this. I pattern interrupted myself. Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Make sure that's right. Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Okay, there we go. Get this back in line here. Okay, here we go. Money Monday, which is what this is. We're going to talk about trading and markets, and then the yin yang financial system, which, if you guys are members of that, that's what we'll be talking about stuff that there. Tech Tuesday is bleeding edge tech talk, which, you know, Bitcoin and the tech side of whatever it is we're talking about. Money Monday and Tech Tuesday will blend together quite often because, you know, these worlds are blending together more and more all the time. And then Freaky Friday and the Road to Freedom show. So Freaky Friday is going to be, that's my favorite one. I'm looking forward to because we just want to talk about whatever. Be better if you guys could help me out with that. Nobody has suggested any topics yet, so I've just been coming up with stuff. Oh, hey, Jerry. Jerry says, definitely tough to be on live stream on this kind of stuff. Hats off to you, Matt. Thank you. It's interesting because, you know, if you guys were working here in my office with me, it wouldn't bother me. You know, you could watch me work all day. But I think something that bothers me because I'm very visual and plus I'm always paying attention to what the load of my computer is doing because I'm constantly doing things that are using my computer maxed out, video editing and developing mobile apps. You know, it's very taxing on a computer. So plus both of those things. Well, kind of anything you're doing on the internet, you're constantly optimizing. So you should really be paying attention to what something does. Like even your websites, when you load it, you should look at the load that it puts on your computer, because if your website has got something running that's maxing out the user's computer, that's going to create a bad experience for your customer or your potential customer. I'm not going to become a customer. I'm just one of these nerdy kind of people that pay attention to stuff. If I go to your website and you got some goofy JavaScript thing or some weird animation that's running on there that is really maxing out my computer, that's going to annoy me, and I'm probably not going to buy your products because it makes me just think you're not paying attention to stuff. That's just me. So with that in mind, I'm always looking at this stuff. And one of the things that bothers me, even right now when I'm live streaming, I'm looking at my computer. It's actually not too bad right now. It's actually the best it's been. I'm looking at my activity monitor, and I can see this thing. Live streaming is just heavy on my computer. So I can hear it. The fan is running higher than I'm used to. And because I'm constantly listening to that stuff when I'm doing stuff anyway, it's just constantly got me in this state of alert, like something's wrong. And it's just live streaming. It's actually not too bad right now. But when I start doing things and live streaming at the same time, what I really need to do is set up a dedicated live stream computer, so that computer, all it does is live streaming, and I can put it in a soundproof box and closet or something around to listen to it, and then I can just be live streaming somehow from my desktop here, something like that. Or I need to run my live stream on a PC computer so I can run a remote desktop kind of setup, and I can put it maybe in another room. I don't know. It's just one of my nerdy things. It's live streaming. Just add this other layer on top of what I'm doing. That's doesn't make me feel great, and it doesn't make me feel like I'm delivering good quality content, even though I know that I am, because I've taught all kinds of stuff I've never taught before. Nobody ever taught me. I've just had to learn. Even in just a few live streams I've done in this since starting this, I've taught so much stuff that I wish I would have known years ago. But I don't know if anybody wants to sit through that. So what I want to do is the Money Monday Tech 2. This is an hour. So these are nice little concise things, so you guys can come and we can, and we don't have to. I mean, I'll stream all day, but I keep it to an hour typically because it's good enough. But like if we ever run into 2 hour, 3 hour, whatever, we have a good discussion going, and I'm teaching some stuff and in the flow, then maybe that's fine too. But try to keep it to an hour, and then keep it topical a little bit. That separates it and makes it a little bit easier for prep for me, because one of the things you guys don't see that I don't live stream is prepping for these live streams, and there's some work. I got to think about, I got to put slides together if I'm doing a presentation, and a lot of times I do slides just for notes so that I don't forget what I'm going to teach you guys. And then try to make it look good and sound good and all that stuff, and and all this setup. It's work, so and I don't mind doing it. I actually enjoy that stuff, making things have a good experience for you guys. So anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. But we're going to go Monday, Tuesday, Friday. That gives me a good break in the middle of the week to get stuff done I need to get done in the week without the pressure of a live stream, because the live stream, to me, it started to feel like I had a job. I got to show up a certain time and perform a certain way, and that's not cool. It's different if I'm going to show up and we're going to have a discussion. That's cool. I'd much rather have discussions anyway. I don't want this to be a monologue. I'd rather have people involved, but got to start somewhere. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So for the afternoon stuff, like my daily work, Apprentice, what I do to make money, copywriting, video editing, all that stuff, I'm still going to record that stuff and teach it, and not teach it like a formal course kind of thing. But what I'll do is do what I see as more effective on some videos I see on YouTube, for instance. I'll just edit it so it fast forward through the boring parts. It'll still be there, and if you want to slow it down yourself, or you want to pause it, you can still see every single step, mostly, but I'll speed it up and do it in a little bit more concise, pre-packaged manner than just long form blah. I think that's what I'm going to do. If it's I don't know, this might create a whole lot of work for me for video editing, though, and I definitely don't want that. I don't need more work, that's for sure. I'm going to figure out some way to get this across to you in a digest way. Let's put it that way. So I'll do this stuff and do it in a digest way and see if that works. If you guys want a planned session, and it'd be better, like if you guys really want to learn a specific thing, that we have a planned session, and then I get together and say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this thing. Well, maybe it's video editing. Okay, I'm going to edit a video, and I'm going to talk my way through it as I do it. I don't know. It's up to you guys. I mean, I'm just here for you guys. I want to have more of a work type environment, because I don't have a work environment here. I work by myself, and my wife, we have an office, but my wife's doing her own thing, and we're not really involved in each other's stuff right now, other than the affiliate clinic, which is a big piece of what we're doing too. But currently, it's just mostly me, especially when I'm coding or all this stuff. I'm just by myself, So I'd much rather have some conversations going, and I'd much rather have this be a way that you guys are learning something, a more hands-on apprentice type thing. So give me some feedback, guys. Let me know what you want, and I'll do it pretty much within reason, of course. So what I'm going to try to do. So this next iteration of this was, I'm going to stick to this as this scheduled content, and just eliminate the afternoon sessions for now, and do it in a digest form, and just show you what I was doing, and show you the results, kind of. I guess. I don't know. I'm just going to have to kind of work our way through it. I don't know. I've never done this before. I haven't seen anybody really try this another way either, other than a university live streaming education. And I don't know. I don't know if this is the right way to do that or not. I don't know. Let me you guys know, and we'll work our way through it. So For the project apprenticeship, like what are we building? I talked about this augmented reality mobile app. You know, I'm not against. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with live streaming me doing it, but again, it's all those factors I already talked about. Plus, it's kind of boring. You know? I just don't know how fun it is to watch me. It's cool whenever things kind of come together, and then it all of a sudden is working, or various pieces or stages are working. You can see that development, but actually doing each one of those stages is pretty damn boring because there's a bunch of little problem solving. Mostly happens in your head and a little testing things that it's not great viewing. I wouldn't want to watch it. Well, I don't know, maybe. But if I wanted to watch it, I would want somebody talking through every step, and I'm not always going to do that. Sometimes I will, but I'm not, because it's just slows down work process and gets me out of my flow. It's not how I normally work, by talking through things. So I don't know. I just got to figure out how to do this. Maybe do it in a digest form. Maybe live stream it and then not live stream, but record it. And then maybe gets video editor or something to speed it up for you guys. I don't know. We'll try something. Either way, we'll get the content out to you. You still get all the stuff I promised to you, and go from there. All right. So enough of all that. Hopefully that makes sense. This is clear as mud. Probably. I don't know. So anyway, I need to leave this one open. And you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing that I did earlier. So this is my stream cover. I'm just going to do the exact same steps I did earlier, guys. I'm just going to make sure this is done before. Stream cover, say, replace Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Make sure it's all right. No typos. Okay, good. All right, change thumbnail, stream cover. Okay, there we go. Oh man, another thing I gotta do is update my So what I do for all these various products that I do, and each live stream typically, or webinar, or whatever it is I'm using slides for, I create a template, and you can see here I just copied what I was walking through you guys earlier, copied it, and I'm going to use that as my template. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's got everything updated now. I've updated my schedule and the various pieces. So now I've got a template to move forward. So next time I live stream tomorrow, Tech Tuesday, I'll go open up this template and then edit it for Tech Tuesday. So makes it easier going forward. Hey, Cole. Hey, Andrew. All right, guys. So let's look at this crazy Bitcoin. So I noticed something today. You guys that have... Andrew, you listen. Let's talk later. Let me figure out how to get my trading stuff tied into this existing trading training that's in other members' areas, because I need everybody to understand the basics of this. But so I was noticing something this morning. Whenever you get good at, you don't even have to get good. Just when you understand the basics of what's going on and how these markets move, and it's kind of every market, even when they are manipulated like Bitcoin is completely, it still falls prey to some sort of technical analysis that is semi-repeatable. So what I mean by that is I've taught you guys how these markets move in channels, you know, so you got so you get a rough trend line. I kind of get the bottoms of, encapsulate the bottoms of this stuff. So this is roughly kind of, I don't know, something like that. Now I'm going to clone, right click it and clone it. That keeps it at the same angle. So then we can create a channel. You can see the channel. Once you start looking at this stuff, you can kind of start seeing the channels from across the room. And what you start to see is that markets always move in channels. Channels either going up, down, or sideways. Quite often it's just a lot of sideways stuff. But the last several years, the stock market, for instance, has gone straight up because it's also being manipulated for other reasons. But this is what I noticed this morning whenever I was looking at the long-term chart of Bitcoin. And on a pure technical analysis, just pure, you know, without knowing anything about Bitcoin at all, if I didn't know what chart this was, you could make a case that right now, just pure technically, I actually want to see it a little bit lower because the number is 10,000. Just the bottom of the channel is right just under 10,000. So right around in here, right roughly now-ish, from anywhere from here down to 9,500, that's a 1,000-point move, which is significant. So that's a problem with Bitcoin trading. But regardless, what I'd be looking for is an entry on trading down here, right when it gets down to this channel, just like it's bottom of the channel here, all these places. Because you can see it goes to the top of the channel, goes meanders around the middle, bounces off the top again, goes to the bottom of the channel, goes up, and then of course the parabolic moves, bust out of the channels, and then get freaky. But look, it always comes right back. Not always. I mean, this is just basic technical stuff. None of this actually lines up perfectly always, but you start to get the feel for this over time, that these channels, and you start to see them. So I could see this channel without having to draw lines and stuff, just showing you guys what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing basically is purely technical. Without knowing anything about Bitcoin, right now would be a good time to buy. But there's no way in hell I'd be buying Bitcoin right now, because this stuff could go down to 6,000, 7,000 just as fast. In my opinion, if Bitcoin is above zero, it's still too high. But, you know, my opinion doesn't matter. The market's what's going to do this. Well, the guys that are manipulating the market. So there's still a whole lot of movement going on with Tether and the New York Attorney General's office. In fact, let's just Google it so you can see what we're talking about, because Tether's in trouble. So the New York Attorney General just the other day says that Bitfinex and Tether serve New York residents longer than they claim. But what this boils down to is a jurisdictional issue where Bitfinex is an illegal, in most countries, exchange. And it's definitely illegal in the United States, and certainly illegal for where it was banned in New York. So, but what's happened is they found out that they were serving New York customers anyway. It's kind of what this is a little bit like whenever the government was trying to go after, what's his name? Totally blanked on his name now. Famous mobster. You see his face? I can't think of his name. Shit. Anyway, it's a tactic that the government has used in the past. I'll think of it in a second. Going after mobsters and mob bosses, things like that, because they couldn't ever get them directly on the crimes. They'd have to go after them. So they'd go after them for like tax evasion, things like that. This is the equivalent. What's attempting to be happening here is attempt by regulatory agencies to get these Bitfinex and these other like Binance, any of these exchanges, they're criminal, and they trade against their customers. They They create money out of thin air and pretend that it's real. Like Tether is just printed out of thin air. They just turn it on and make as much as they want. So what's happening is that regulatory agencies are trying to figure out a way in to get these people shut down. Because what they're doing now, if you look at I posted it on Facebook the other day. I'm not going to try to find it again, but it was a chart that actually maybe I will, because it won't be that far back. Because it's when you start to look at it. Come on, load. Okay, got some scrolling to do. I don't know what day it was I posted it, but I don't think it was that far back. There's a chart of Tether and Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe it was far back. I don't know. It just seemed like it was the other day. Well, I'll get there eventually. Gotta be getting close now. It's an important point. I wouldn't belabor this. Sorry, I should have been prepped for this. I didn't bring it up. Here it is. Boom. There we go. Let me save this. I need to save this. Save post in what did let me see? Okay. So what this is a chart comparing the price of Bitcoin versus the volume of Tether. And what they've done is they just print Tether and then buy Bitcoin all the way up, pump it up, fake wash trading and spoof trading, all the stuff that I've told you about, make it look like there's a real market. And then what happens is what they're doing right now is it tends to happen over the weekends as well. If you start noticing, is they will sell it off. So what they're doing is they artificially pump up the price with all these various tactics, and then what they do is they're betting on FOMO, the people's fear of missing out, and then what they call it is dumping on them. Oh yeah, Al Capone, Andrew. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Al Capone. They went after Al Capone for tax evasion because they couldn't get him on the actual crime. So that's what's going on here. It's blatantly obvious. Everybody in anybody who's paying attention is not an idiot, can tell that this is illegally, completely fraudulently manipulated all over the place. It's not hard to tell. The problem is, how do you stop it? Well, they got to figure. I don't know. Something's going to have to happen because people are going to lose. I mean, this might be the biggest fraud in history. I mean, it's already billions of dollars, hundreds of billions, maybe. I don't know. But just in this last run up, what you're seeing is Tether printed several. I don't know what the number was. I forgot what it was. Several $1 billion worth of Tether, just out of thin air. And what they're saying is that's people depositing money with them and buying Tether. That's fucking bullshit. There is nobody out there buying billions of dollars worth of Tether except maybe people that are doing money laundering. I mean, I could see drug dealers wanting to do it, or corrupt governments trying to do that kind of money. But then that doesn't help the argument. If that is what's going on, then they're hiding the source of the funds because they don't have KYC and AML, which I'm not a fan of, but it still is the regulations. They're not following the regulations, and that's why the New York Attorney General's office is going after them, because they were still operating, still taking customer funds, still doing all this shit while being shady at the same time. They probably wouldn't care so much. I mean, they would, but they wouldn't care so much if they weren't blatantly doing fraud. So it's an attempt by the government regulatory agencies to stop this shit. Because this volume of Tether going up is not because people buying Tether to try to get into Bitcoin. That's fucking horseshit. You don't have to buy Tether to buy Bitcoin. And somebody that's a regulatory agency, or not regulatory, like institutional level investor that has billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars at stake to invest in crypto is not going to go through fucking Tether. No way. Not any legit one, because you know what they would do? Something called due diligence. You look at due diligence, you would find out that Tether and Bitfinex and Binance and anybody connected to them is completely full of shit and fraudulent at best. I mean, all of these people should be in prison. It's fucking criminal what they're doing to people. Because what they're doing right now is selling their fake shit that they pumped up back to people that are buying in the market right now, that are taking technical analysis training from people like me saying it's a good time to buy, which technically it is. And they're selling it to them when they fake pumped it up with their fake shit, and then they're buying back the real stuff, and then they immediately go liquidate it on the market themselves, which creates even more selling pressure, and then that's where you get these fall offs. It's classic pump and dump, pump and dump. It's been around for over 100 years, probably since all of human history. Anytime there's any sort of trading going on, there's people that are trying to manipulate markets. It happens. It happens in every fucking market in the world. It's just crypto is ripe for it because it's not regulated, and people don't understand it. It's super easy to fool people. Like, fuck, man. I don't understand why anybody buys into this, other than just the number goes up, man. Like, it's the dumbest reason ever, because the number goes up. Well, what if the number represented slave children in Africa? Would you still fucking buy it? Probably. Most people probably would if it made them money. That's how shitty our society is today. But regardless, everything is getting better. I don't want to be so super negative about that kind of stuff, but I do firmly believe, I see evidence everywhere that things are getting better, improvements are being made, and people in general are becoming better people and more aware of what's going on. However, we've got a long ways to go before we see anything that I would call good in any of this stuff. So I hesitate so much to tell you guys about anything about trading this shit, because this isn't real trading. This is bullshit. If you want to trade for real, go trade on the S&P 500, or at least something that resembles somewhat of a market. I mean, they're all manipulated, but crypto is the worst because it's so thinly traded. There's not real volume here. It's not real depth of market. It's so thin. That just means there's so few people trading it, and it's not widely held either. It means it's concentrated in just a few hands. That is the two things you need for manipulation. And crypto, all of crypto has it, and in Bitcoin that has the most volume has it. So imagine about the smaller ones. I mean, geez, man. So with that, let's go look at some more real markets anyway. What I would call more of a real market. Go down to 30-minute chart, maybe a 15-minute. I need a full overnight session. This is just a day session here. S&P 500 cranking, making all-time new highs. Always just made 3,000 the other day for the first time in history. Crazy, man. So what's happening behind the scenes in the stock market is that it's being pumped full of fake paper money from all over the world, from all these crazy ass quantitative easing type things that governments are doing around the world now. It's weird, man. It's super weird. There's no way in hell we should be making new highs in the market right now. And you guys watch, by the end of this year, we will have a massive correction. I won't call it a crash, but we're going to have some sessions that people are going to be, it's going to be in making headlines. You watch, by the end of this year, you watch between September and December, we'll have a massive move down in the markets. Now, it could move a lot higher from where it is now. It's very much like what's going on in crypto. It's just super weird, man. I don't like trading this stuff because it's just not. It's just air. None of it's fucking real. So it's hard. How do you trade it? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. What you do is you do some options and take some longer term trades. So we'll talk about that in the yin yang financial system, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So that's a little bit more advanced stuff. But as typical technical analysis trading, that's what I'm talking about. So to trade it with straight technical analysis, man, it's tough. So you just have to do longer term trades. So we'll talk about those in the future at some point. For now, I don't know. It's just interesting to watch, man. I don't know how you buy it. I don't know how you sell it. I don't know. It's just so weird. It could turn on a dime and none of it makes any sense. You know, it could go against you and you just can't really wrap your head around it. Anybody that claims that they got all this technical analysis that can wrap their head around it, they're full of shit. I want to see the real trades. You know, anybody can look at this stuff in hindsight and say XYZ, this did this, and yeah, okay, well, you guys have seen me multiple times. I've done it in my Road to Freedom show, all kinds of archives there. I've done it in my other trading videos I've done and other live streams, multiple times, showing where markets have turned exactly where I said they were going to turn in the future. Tesla's a good one. I mean, here's this channel. Look how many times it bounced off this channel. I said it would be a good short right around in here, and it sure was for a couple days at least. That's a good ride, short-term trade. It did bust out of it, but there's plenty of room to make money in there. Tesla should have run down here, but this is one of those other weird ones. It just defies all logic. So with this defying all logic stuff, we're going to have to get into how to trade this stuff, because there are ways to trade it to make some small bets and have a potentially explosive upside when it does finally snap back to logic, because they eventually always do. Has to. I mean, it's just frauds always get revealed. The truth always comes out. It might take a long time. If you guys have seen the movie The Big Short, the guy that was right about that made billions of dollars for him and his clients, but he was wrong for a long, long time, at least according to the market. Because the old saying in markets is that markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And that's the thing. And you can be right for a long time and lose money for a very long time. And that's the painful part about this, where you can be completely right. Like Tesla. Tesla should be Tesla Q, which the Q means bankruptcy whenever they fucking file bankruptcy, because it's all fraudulent company. They make bullshit products that won't last. They're already having lawsuits about the paint on these things. There's brand new cars from last year, not even a year old, already rusting because they put too thin a paint on them. That's just one issue with Teslas. I could go on for hours about how terrible this company is. This king should be at zero, and yet it's valued, has a valuation more than Ford, who actually makes real high quality vehicles and has a long history of doing it. Just another example of these things that defy logic, but eventually it will all snap back. So how do you play? Well, the best way to do it is long-term options. LEAPs is what they call them. Long-term equity anticipation securities. It's just options. We'll talk about options in the future, but I have several long-term put options on Tesla. You can buy them super, super cheap. You go out 5-10 years or sometimes more. You have to look at the options chart. We'll do that someday when we get into the training side of this. I'll show you how to read an options chart, so you have to show what's good value, what's not, and how to make a trade on this stuff. But essentially what you're doing is you're just going out a long time in history and going what we call way out of the money, meaning you're betting that it's going to make a move very far from where it is. I'm betting via put options that it's going to go down. Put options, you make money when the underlying asset goes down. Call options, you make money when the underlying asset goes up. And options, all they are is an obligation, or sorry, a right to perform, but not an obligation. It's just like an option on a house. So if you buy an option on a house, so you can say you buy an option to buy a house for $1,000. That's the only thing you have out of pocket is $1,000. You got a contract that gives you the right to buy the house at a certain price, whatever price you set in the contract for the option for the contract to purchase for the house. Well, options in the stock market or trading is the same thing. There's just two kinds of options, calls and puts. Calls, they increase in value when the underlying goes up, as I said, and puts increase in value when the underlying goes down. And you can use both of them interchanging for all kinds of complex strategies, which I'll show you guys at some point. If you want to do a little bit of homework, you can research something called iron condors or butterfly iron condor credit spreads, or iron condor option spreads, something like that. It's a little bit, it sounds a little bit exotic. It is considered exotic trading, but it's actually quite simple when you understand it, of course, like anything. But it involves using calls and put options traded in the same trade, selling some of them, buying some of them back, which creates a spread. It's a little bit more complicated subject, which we'll get into in the future, but it's how you make money on this stuff. So what you're doing is you're basically buying one and selling the other, which creates a spread, and that limits your risk. It also limits your upside, but it limits your risk. It makes it easy to calculate going in to a trade, what you're willing to risk, and that's what trading is all about. I mean, it's really just about calculating a small amount of your portfolio set aside. You're going to risk this amount with the potential of a much bigger return. So, for example, I'm buying some long-term put options on Tesla, and you can get them very cheap because they're way out in the future. That's the thing with options, is they eventually expire. Just like an option on your house, the contract has to be executed by a certain date or you lose that option. So all options expire at some point. Options expire the third week of every month of the month that they're written for, but you can buy them out in the future. You can buy current month or any future month that's available. And by available, I mean the market makers. The market makers that write these contracts, like a bank, like Goldman Sachs has market makers that create these contracts and put them out available for buy and sell. And that's how they make their money on the spreads on this stuff, the commissions and all these things. They create all these exotic instruments. Some of those very exotic instruments were detailed sort of heavily in the movie The Big Short. And that's what we're talking about. It's just the same thing. All this stuff, same shit. It's just a casino that these guys invented with some bullshit contract paper, and they all trade this paper back and forth, and they pretend like it's a market. Okay, and it looks all sophisticated because we got all these sophisticated trading strategies. We got this fancy software that looks like it's all sophisticated, but in the end, it's just people trying to figure out how to fuck each other. And in the end, most of it is the banks and the brokerage sector, that higher end institutional level, trying to figure out how to get more money out of the retail sector, which is you and me, the customers. It has really not a lot to do with real price discovery and then finding out how to have fair markets. Shit, nah, this is more about control. You got to understand that. When you understand that, then you got to play by their own game. You got to look at what they're looking at, and guess what they're looking at? The spread. So the spread is where the money is. So you got to look at how to play that spread, and it's something we'll talk about a lot in the future. I'll teach you guys all about how I look at it. And it's really the money in all of this stuff. You can throw out all the charts and all the technical analysis and all the bullshit. If you don't understand how to manage risk and portfolio management and position sizing in relation to that risk, then you're never going to make money trading. I don't care how good you are, because I can show you a trading strategy. I can show you thousands of trading strategies, in fact, that have nearly a 100% win rate. And that's the way a lot of trading strategies are sold. They're sold as, I've seen them, 99% win rate. Well, fuck. I mean, if you don't know any better, well, that sounds great, man. I'd love to have a trading system that wins 99% of the time. Sounds great, right? Well, that's the problem. Anybody you see that's trying to sell a trading system or a trading history that's based on that, they're fucking trying to fuck you. Because the win rate means nothing. It's the wrong stat. It's like the 10th or 20th stat that I even care about. In fact, when I look at trading systems, I don't want to hear about the win rate because it doesn't fucking matter. Because I can show you a trading strategy that wins 1,000,000 times in a row and still loses money. Because all you got to do is have the risk rewards side of it off, and it makes it a losing strategy. That's why the only thing that matters is the spread on the risk and your position size. So what you're doing is you don't want to ever be trading your entire portfolio on something. You're breaking it up into small percentages. So you might, if you're trading Tesla, for example, you may trade only 5% of your portfolio. That's called position sizing. Well, that's called portfolio management. splitting up your portfolio. Position sizing is how big is that trade based on the risk. Now, this is some deep stuff, but you need to understand this. If you're going to understand how money works, understand how to trade, you understand how this works. I'll teach more about it in the future because I'm kind of getting late in the show here, but this is how it works. Position size. So you make a trade, just like you don't bet it all on red. You don't put all of your money on buying Tesla or shorting Tesla or buying any sort of stock. You split it up. Because not everything's going to work out because we can't tell the future, right? You can make some smart ideas and make some good entries based on smart tactics and smart technical analysis. However, you can still be wrong for a very long time, or you can be right and still lose money, I should say, which on paper means you're wrong. Just go watch the movie The Big Short. It's a perfect example. The guys that called the fall in the market, 2008, 2009, they were years ahead of everybody, but meanwhile, the market's going straight up in their face and they're shorting it the whole time. That means they're losing money and they're just waiting for it to come down. It'd be just like me if I was shorting Tesla here, even though I can give you rock solid 100%, show you every piece of evidence that it was without a doubt Tesla is a complete fraud and will fail sometime in the future, and Elon Musk might be in prison. That doesn't fucking matter because there's just too much going on. It's just a big thing. So even if I told you to short right here because of all of these reasons, it's still right. But look, the market still went up damn near 100 points. That's almost 30%. So we went up 20%. And it's still right about this thing going down. But this is market dynamics. You got to get used to that. You can look and have your charts all line up perfect, have all the indicators that you want to line up right, and have everything look great, and you feel so great about it, and then immediately you lose on that trade. Happens all the time, and it messes with you in your head unless you realize that that's what the game is all about. That's what they're trying to get you to do is overthink your positions and take trades off when you should be putting them on. That's what happens in trading, man. You start second guessing yourself when these numbers are moving against you, and you're like, oh man, Matt told me this, and I learned this, and I saw this perfect example, and it's not working. Oh man, this doesn't work anymore. No, you're experiencing market dynamics, and what you got is a whole bunch of people that have multi-trillions of vested interest in keeping it the way it is. So, once you understand that and understand to play it the way that they play it, they don't look at this shit. They do for reference, but it's mostly they look at the numbers, risk versus reward, position sizing, and the spread. That's all that matters, man. So you can still make money in markets that don't make any sense to you. So after a while, you kind of start to just disconnect from it and just look at this stuff in a like a 10,000 foot view thing, because you have to. Otherwise, like, you won't ever trade anything. I mean, like foreign exchange. Well, I'm going to show you guys some foreign exchange trading. Foreign exchange is great, Forex, but man, all currencies in the entire world are bullshit. They're backed by nothing, created out of thin air. They're for shit, but you can still trade them, you know? So you just got to learn how to look at these the right way. And over the coming weeks, months, I will show you guys how to do it. I've got trading videos. I got an entire trading thing that members of Mogul Apprentice get access to. Andrew and I will get it figured out and get it in a members area. I've got it in another members platform. We just got to migrate it over. You guys have access to it, so at least you understand the basics of what I'm talking about for you guys that haven't seen it. And then I've got several road to, shows I did last year on Road to Freedom show where I talked about trading as well. And I'll just keep going through it. I mean, every week I'll just show you guys over and over and over until you get it. Because it's the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. That's a good thing. There's a lot of lingo that you got to learn, of course, you know, with all these stuff. I'm sure I've thrown out some stuff you guys confused about a little bit. If you have questions, the only way that I can teach you is if you ask me. So let me know. You know, if you're wondering about how things work, how to do an options trade, how to do a futures trade, how to do a forex trade, we'll go through it. Probably do some live trading with you, especially on the forex side. That's the easiest one to demonstrate. Buying call options, that's not super interesting to look at. Just filling out a form and hit and go. But trading on a technical analysis on forex, you know, I'll show you how the indicators work and all that, and go from there. So, all right, well, I'm going to call it for today, guys. On Bitcoin, I mean, I don't know. My gut is telling me that they're going to try to push this thing back up again, but who knows? It's sold off pretty much, so I would be looking for it to probably be moving back up at a minimum to the middle of this channel here. I'm going to clone this and where did it go? Oh, there it is. Move it to the middle of this channel, because the 50% part of these channels always works out to. Now look, I just drug this roughly to the 50% of this, and look how it lines up all the way back in the pass. Look how it reacts off the middle of that channel so many times. Look right in here. Boom, boom, almost to the tick. This just happens all the time. So I would suspect that they're going to at least be pushing back up to the middle of this channel, but by the time it's here, we're talking like 11.5. But I mean, really, they're probably going to be pushing to the top of this channel, which is going to be like 12.5 before it comes back down. So here's what I suspect. So it's either going to be something like this and fiddle fart around here like this, and then back down to here and hopefully break through this channel, or it's definitely going to fiddle fart. It's going to hang up around this 50% mark, around 11.2 to 11.5, and then probably they'll push up to here. They might try to blow it out here a little bit, but man, I suspect it's just going to come right back down. But I don't know. We'll see. Just lay out these same channels. You can go on tradingview.com. That's where I am. It's free. You guys can go on there and do the same thing. And I'm on the 4-hour chart. You can lay it out the same as I have. You can kind of see what I'm seeing. So that's the targets I'd be looking for. Of course, my thoughts are always that this thing should be going way down. I mean, the bottom could fall out of it at any moment. So that's kind of my analysis. Just be careful. This is probably not a bad place to buy right here, because I do suspect they're going to be going up. But again, not financial advice. Play it. Be careful. Play it with a small percentage of your portfolio. Keep some tight stops, and take it easy. All right, that's it for today, guys. I will see you on Tech Tuesday tomorrow.